The lights of the CN Tower illuminate the night in Toronto. The bars are packed, and the city pulses with anticipation. We are less than a month away from the start of the 2025-26 NHL season, and Maple Leafs fans already live with that mix of anxiety and hope that only hockey can provide. But at the same time that there is this excitement, there's also an uncomfortable feeling in the air. A question that seems to echo on every corner of the city. Who will be able to fill the space left by Mitch Marner, the star who for years formed one of the deadliest duos in the league alongside Austin Matthews, is no longer there, having been sent to Vegas, and that void is one of the great mysteries of this offseason. The curious thing is that this summer of trades was, in a way, unusual. Many expected bombshell moves, dramatic twists, that heated market where every day a new rumor pops up. But that is not what we saw. The trade market remained strangely quiet, to frustration of hockey fans. And what we witnessed was an almost deafening silence, with teams preferring to wait for training camps to make bolder decisions. And it is precisely in this calm setting that one specific rumor gains traction. The idea that Adrien, Kemp, the offensive star of the Los Angeles Kings, could be a major target for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Adrien Kemp, for those who follow closely, is not just another good forward in the league. He has been, for at least 3 seasons, a consistent goal-scorer machine. Someone who managed to surpass the 30-goal mark in each of them, despite still playing at a high level, able to play both left and right, combining speed, physicality, and finishing instinct. At 29 years old, entering the final stretch of his prime, he represents exactly the type of player Toronto needs to keep its championship window alive. And when we remember that he is about to begin the last season of his 4-year, $22 million contract, the rumor starts to take on a sense of reality. Los Angeles, of course, does not want to let him go for nothing. But there is an impasse. The Kings want to extend his deal. He wants to stay in LA, but so far, no agreement is close to being finalized. This opens the door for speculation. And according to Nestor Quickson of Heavy Sports, Toronto could be the ideal franchise to take advantage of the situation. The suggested proposal? Kemp wearing blue and white in exchange for Bobby McMahon, Nick Robertson, and a second-round pick in 2027. Now, before we get into the trade itself, it is worth remembering who those 2 names are that Toronto would be putting on the table. Nick Robertson is a young player, just 24, skilled, owner of a heavy shot, a talent who has already flashed moments of brilliance to the Leafs, but who has not yet managed to deliver consistency, partly because of injuries that slowed his development. He has the potential to be a legitimate sniper, but so far he has not cemented that status. Bobby McMahon, at 28 years old, is the kind of player who brings physicality, energy, intensity, someone unafraid of contact, capable of being useful in depth lines, but who has also shown some ability to score goals when given opportunities. In Quickston's view, this combination of youth potential and a future pick could be enough to convince the Kings. Some analysts believe Los Angeles could ask for a first-round pick. But Kemp's contract reality, combined with the risk of losing him without return in the summer of 2026, reduces the bargaining power of the Californian franchise. It is precisely at this point that Toronto could take advantage, offering an interesting package without having to sacrifice core pieces of the roster. Now, let's imagine the impact Kemp would have in Toronto. We are talking about a player who not only scores goals, but raises his level in decisive moments. His playoff numbers speak for themselves. 29 points in 28 postseason games. Not many players manage to maintain an average of more than 1 point per game under maximum pressure. This shows that he does not hide, that he is not just a regular season scorer, but someone who thrives on the heavy ice of April, May, and June. Toronto, which for years has been criticized for disappearing in the playoffs, cannot ignore that characteristic. From a tactical standpoint, Kemp would fit the Leafs like a glove. He could play alongside Austin Matthews and William Nylander, forming one of the most dangerous first lines in the league. Just imagine Matthews, the most lethal center in hockey, having Nylander, a creative and fast playmaker, on one side, and Kemp bringing power, explosiveness, and a deadly shot on the other. It would be a nearly unstoppable line, a combination of talent, skill, and intensity. In addition, Kemp would bring depth to the power play. He could occupy the shooter role to Matthews' right, transforming a unit that often suffered from predictability. And it does not stop there. Unlike some elite forwards, Kemp also has defensive utility. He can be used on a secondary penalty kill, contributes with aggressive forechecking, and does not shy away from physical play. This versatility would increase the Leafs coach's options, allowing for dynamic adjustments depending on the opponent. In terms of advanced metrics, he reinforces that image even further. His average ice time is around 17:45 per game, with usage in all special situations. His shooting percentage sits around 14%, a solid number that proves efficiency. He also posts a CF percent above 52, showing that his presence on the ice helps maintain puck control. Now, of course, the big dilemma is it worth risking future assets for a player who might leave in a year? That is the central question. On one hand, Toronto is in win-now mode. They have Austin Matthews and William Nylander in their prime. John Tavares is still relevant, and a core that can indeed contend for the cup. Missing the chance to maximize that window would be a mistake. On the other hand, giving up Robertson, McMahon, and a pick could cost dearly if Kemp decides not to re-sign in Toronto. On Los Angeles' side, the situation is also complex. The Kings know Kemp is one of their best players, a reliable scorer. Losing him would open a hole difficult to fill. But if management is not confident that an extension will be signed, they might prefer to extract value now rather than risk losing the Swede for nothing in the summer of 2026. And let's not forget, Kopitar is nearing the end of his career. Byfield is still developing, and the Kings' window to compete in the West is challenging. This is a type of negotiation where both sides have much to consider. For Toronto, it is the chance to immediately fill the void left by Marner, without depending on young players developing. For Los Angeles, it is the opportunity to trade uncertainty for youth and a future pick. And when we think of comparisons, Adrien Kemp could be for the Leafs what Mark Stone was for the Vegas Golden Knights. That addition who not only comes to contribute but changes the offensive identity of the team, bringing physicality, goals, and a winning mentality. Toronto, which so many times fell short in playoff series due to lack of depth or clutch performers, would find in Kemp the piece that could rewrite that script. Of course, none of this is guaranteed. The Leafs need to evaluate to what extent it is worth investing in a player who might just be passing through. But at the same time, not investing could mean watching the Matthews and Nylander windows slip away. Sports history is full of teams that kept waiting for the perfect moment to make a move and ended up wasting their golden years. Picture the scene: Adrien Kemp in the Leafs blue jersey, stepping onto the ice at a packed Scotiabank Arena, the crowd in ecstasy, the camera zooming in on the focused eyes of Matthews and Nylander. It would be the kind of move that could change not just the narrative around the Toronto Maple Leafs, but perhaps the very destiny of the franchise. And that is where I toss the question to you. If you were running the Leafs, would you make this trade? Would you give up Robertson, McMahon, and a future pick to go all in on Adrien Kemp? Or would you prefer to wait, hold on to assets, and look for another, safer name? Leave your opinion in the comments. Drop a like if you enjoyed this detailed analysis. And of course, Subscribe to the channel so you do not miss a single detail of what promises to be one of the most exciting seasons in recent Leafs history. The discussion is open, and I really want to hear what you think about this possible move that could change everything in Toronto.